Picture a painting, not a beautiful one. Maybe a splattered canvas that looks like a kindergartner's tantrum, or a giant steel balloon animal that sold for $58 million. You see it, you roll your eyes, and you think, who on earth would pay that for something so ugly? The answer is not a madman. The answer is a billionaire running one of the slickest tax loopholes ever invented. Welcome to the art deception, where the global elite use ugly paintings, secret vaults, and rigged auction houses to dodge billions in taxes while you pick up the tab. To understand this racket, you have to forget everything you think you know about art. For the 1%, a canvas is not culture. It is a financial weapon. And the first rule of this game is simple. The painting must never, ever see the light of day. Remember the HBO show Succession? There is a scene where Roman Roy mocks his billionaire father for owning like 3 Gauguins no one has ever seen hidden in vaults for tax reasons. This is not fiction. It is a documentary. There are vaults called Freeports, luxury bunkers in Geneva, Luxembourg, Singapore, and even Delaware, where the ultra-rich stash billions of dollars of art in complete darkness forever. These are not museums. They are tax-free black holes. Here is how it works. A hedge fund manager buys a Picasso at a London auction for $50 million. Instead of shipping it home, which would trigger massive import duties and sales taxes, it goes straight to a free port. Inside that concrete fortress, the Picasso legally inhabits no country. It is considered in transit forever. It sits there for decades, appreciating in value to $100 million, and the owner pays 0 in capital gains tax, 0 in VAT, and 0 in import duties. Not a dime. Then, when they want to cash out, they sell the painting from within the Freeport itself. The ownership papers change hands. The money moves, but the painting never leaves the building. No tax collector ever sees it. No transaction record ever hits the light of day. $100 million profit, and the government gets nothing. But the rabbit hole goes so much deeper. The Freeport is the holding cell. The real heist happens when the billionaire decides to become a philanthropist. Here is the magic trick that has fleeced the American taxpayer out of hundreds of billions. A collector buys a painting for $5 million from a struggling artist. Years pass. The artist gets hot. Auction records climb. Galleries host retrospectives. Then, at a moment chosen with clinical precision, the collector hires an appraiser who declares the painting is now worth $25 million. This number, this magic number, becomes the weapon. The collector donates the painting to a museum, and the tax system does not ask what he paid for it. It accepts the new valuation. So, on a $5 million purchase, he claims a $25 million tax deduction, reducing his taxable income by a massive margin and saving perhaps $10 million in taxes. He made a profit just by giving it away. The math is simple. He spent $5 million. He saved $10 million. The public calls him a generous patron. His name goes on a museum wall, but society paid for it. The tax revenue was not borne by him. It was absorbed by you. The Daily Saba described it perfectly. The billionaire turns art into a staged illusion where wealth slips past taxes, posing as generosity. The donation appears to be a gift, but structurally, it is a negotiated exchange where the state, and by extension the taxpayer, silently pays the bill. And it gets worse. ProPublica, the investigative newsroom, blew the lid off an even uglier game involving private foundations. A tech billionaire used his charitable foundation to buy his girlfriend's house, then lived there with her during his divorce. A real estate mogul keeps his so-called public art museum locked inside his personal guest house and admitted he had not shown it to a single member of the public since before the pandemic. Another venture capital couple's foundation bought the multi-million-dollar mansion next door and never opened it to anyone. These foundations have over $1 trillion in assets, and the IRS is so starved of funding it can barely audit a fraction of them. These are not charities. They are trophy cases that generate millions in tax deductions while delivering 0 public benefit. Now you might ask, how do they rig the actual prices? If a painting is ugly, how do they prove it is worth $50 million? Enter the third-party guarantee, the secret financial weapon of auction houses like Christie's and Sotheby's. Before a big auction, the house secretly sells the top lots to wealthy investors called guarantors. These investors promise to bid a guaranteed minimum. If nobody else bids, they buy it. If the price goes higher, they get a cut of the upside. This means the auction price you see in the news was not discovered in a fair, open market. It was prearranged. It was funded by the same people who benefit from the price being high. When Sotheby's owner, Patrick Drahi, wanted to buy an $84 million Francis Bacon, who do you think acted as the guarantor and then the final buyer? Yes, the auction house owned by the buyer guaranteed the buyer's own purchase. It is a hall of mirrors. Prices drift further and further from reality but the tax deductions grow bigger and bigger. As Jing Daily concluded, these guarantees undermine the very concept of an open and transparent marketplace. Public trust in the entire $60 billion industry is at stake. And there is yet another layer, a darker layer. The opacity of this world makes it the ultimate vehicle for money laundering. An estimated $3 billion of the annual art trade is linked to criminal cash. Freeports are the perfect laundromat. Dirty money buys a painting in a discreet private sale. The painting vanishes into a Geneva vault. 6 months later, it is sold to a new buyer somewhere else in the world. Clean money emerges. The painting never moved a millimeter. The guard literally does not know a crime was committed on his watch. In 2014, Credit Suisse was caught sending bankers undercover into Art Basel, Miami to recruit American tax evaders. The bank pleaded guilty and paid a $2.6 billion fine. At the airport in Geneva, they had a secret office with no name on the door where 10,000 wealthy clients could check their hidden accounts in utter privacy. It was a banking operation disguised as an art fair sponsorship. And here is the ultimate insult. When a billionaire buys a $100 million abstract canvas that most people find hideous or incomprehensible, they are not making a mistake. The ugliness is the point. If it were beautiful, people might demand to see it. If it were accessible, it might generate public pressure to display it. But an ugly, challenging, confrontational piece of contemporary art, perfect. It can sit in the dark forever. Its ugliness justifying its absence, its valuation certified by a controlled auction, its existence serving as nothing more than a tax shield. We are witnessing the rise of what one law professor calls the second estate. Just like the nobles of pre-revolutionary France, today's billionaires have built a parallel system where they are exempt from the rules that govern the rest of us. They have convinced you that their tax maneuvers are cultural contributions, that their vaults are philanthropic, that their rigged auctions are free markets. The next time you see a headline about a $100 million sale of a splattered canvas or a steel balloon animal, do not ask why it is so valuable. Ask who benefits from that valuation. Look past the canvas, look at the tax code, look at the Freeport, look at the foundation. The ugly painting is not the product. The deception is. They get richer. We get the bill. And until we shine a light on these vaults and demand transparency, the art will stay in the dark and the house will always win.
The art market is just one chapter in a much larger playbook. The Freeports, the rigged auctions, the phantom donations, they are simply symptoms of a financial architecture designed to trap wealth at the very top, while the rest of society quietly absorbs the cost. But the rabbit hole goes far beyond splattered canvases and Swiss vaults. The global elite have engineered an entire system of invisible levers to dictate how you live, work, and spend. If you are ready to see the full picture and understand how they leverage your daily effort to build their untouchable empires, you need to watch our upcoming documentaries, The Control Illusion and The Invisible Elite. We are going to dismantle the ultimate labor trap step by step. Do not let them keep you in the dark. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you in the next one.